aid programs. Food aid is another instrument for financing food assistance, particularly in low-income countries. Food, as a form of aid to developing countries, has its origin in the early 1950s, when the first structural surpluses in cereal products appeared in the United States. The international community, however, formalized the use of food aid as a development resource and tool, first with the establishment of the World Food Programme WFP in 1961 and subsequently with the signing of the first Food Aid Convention FAC in 1967 within the context of the International Grains Agreement IGA. This lesson attempts to shed some light on food aid and its impact on alleviating or intensifying world hunger from the following headings. Forms of food aid and their magnitude, food assistance needs, impact of food aid on recipient countries, food aid and development, food aid programs in India. Forms of food aid and their magnitude. The FAO Committee on Commodity Problems has identified 13 different types of donor-recipient transactions that constitute food aid. These can be grouped for operational purposes into 3 general categories. Program food aid is usually supplied as a transfer of resources to meet balance of payments and budget support objectives. It is provided as a grant or loan on a bilateral basis. Unlike food aid provided for project or relief purposes, it is not usually targeted at a specific beneficiary groups but sold on the market of the recipient country. The recipient government has complete control over its use. Program food aid or in-kind food aid makes up the majority of aid for the US. Project food aid is provided to targeted groups to support specific development objectives. It is always supplied on a grant basis. Decisions regarding the use of this form of food aid are taken by donors in partnership with the government. Relief food aid is targeted and freely distributed to victims of natural disasters or those caused by humans. World Food Programme, national governments, often in collaboration with NGOs and members of civil society, are responsible for distributing the food to the target populations. Relief aid used to be a minor form of aid until the 1990s, when it shifted to being the dominant factor, signifying both the increase in emergencies and the end of the Cold War, where food aid as a political tool to aid the donor seemed to be less important. Although food aid for humanitarian relief to alleviate temporary or transitory food insecurity remains relatively uncontroversial, its structure has had to be adapted to political and economic realities in donor countries. First, there has been an abrupt decline in food aid availability since the record level of almost 17 million tons in 1992-93. Forecasts for 1995-96 anticipate a drop to less than 8 million tons. Most analysts, example Taylor, Singer and Shaw, forecast a further tightening of supplies in coming years. It is too early to say whether or to what extent this might be linked to trade liberalization. However, the supply of food aid has always responded negatively to higher food prices. There is a significant correlation between world cereal prices and global food aid, especially where program food aid is concerned. Second, there has been a stronger expression of concern to concentrate food aid on least developed countries National food security remains a minor determinant of donor food aid allocation decisions. As a result, the countries that receive the largest volumes of food aid are still not necessarily those inhabited by the largest number of hungry people. Third, food aid is no longer necessarily a surplus commodity provided by a small number of countries. It now derives from a more diverse range of donor sources, and increasingly, responsibility for its management has shifted to multilateral institutions and NGOs. The share of food aid handled by these organizations rose from 10% in 1989 to 21% in 1994. Fourth, there has been a shift towards emergency-related interventions. However, development initiatives in vulnerable regions are increasingly linked to the requirements of relief, rehabilitation, disaster preparedness, and preventive measures. Fifth, as surpluses have become more scarce in donor countries, triangular procurement and local purchases of food aid have increased. About 16% of global food aid deliveries, representing 1.5 million tons, was procured in developing countries in 1995. This amount is similar to the amounts registered in recent years but greater than those registered prior to the 1990s. Food assistance needs. Food assistance enhances the well-being of the chronically hungry. For individuals who have been affected by emergencies, natural disasters, and crises caused by humans, food assistance has historically provided and continues to provide the only hope for survival. There are many forms of food assistance. Direct forms include food stamps, ration shops, fair price shops, kitchens, health center food packets, food coupons, school lunches, special canteens, and food for work programs. They are supported by internationally sourced food and cash aid, public funds, NGOs, or private charity. Indirect forms include nutrition education, policies related to food reserve stocks, and a supportive policy environment comprising inter alia, pricing policy, marketing policy, exchange rate policy, and trade policy. All forms of food assistance aim at providing food free or at a subsidy to a targeted section or sections of the population. While international food aid finances some direct forms of food assistance, indirect forms are mostly, but not exclusively, the responsibility of national governments, with the international community providing the enabling environment. Despite successes in many countries, absolute levels of chronic undernutrition and poverty continue to rise, while structural food deficits, weak market infrastructure, inappropriate economic policies, and armed conflict continue to cripple growth in many countries. There will always be a role for food assistance. This role will be two-pronged, based on direct humanitarian interventions as well as on programs that effectively channel food and non-food resources directly to the very poor, laying the basis for economic growth in which the poorest, more marginal regions will be able to participate. To make the best use of resources currently available, it will be necessary to rationalize the use of food assistance by providing more cost-effective national food assistance programs to respond to the immediate needs of the chronically hungry, ensuring that food resources are effectively delivered into the hands of people who have most responsibility for household food security, typically women. Shifting current food aid allocations from less poor recipient countries towards the most needy cases, LDCs and LIFDCs, of which there were 82% in the developing world in 1996. achieving greater stability in food aid supplies, at least for interventions designed to help the most hungry, particularly in years of high world food prices. Regularly and rigorously evaluating food assistance programs with a view to identifying lessons that can be learned and applying these lessons in future project designs. Additionally, there is a need for a greater mutual support between food and non-food resources. Food resources alone cannot adequately address the scale of hunger that will face humanity in the decades ahead. Efforts aimed at increasing food and agricultural productivity and output, as well as purchasing power among hungry people, need to increase. Closer partnerships are needed between food and non-food resources to ensure that hunger is treated as a mainstream development problem and its elimination becomes an achievable political objective. Recent efforts to improve the integration of international food aid and domestic safety net programs into recipient countries, food security and nutrition strategies have to be broadened and strengthened. Furthermore, efforts are made to integrate program assistance into national agricultural and rural development strategies so as to eliminate current hunger and also contribute to the prevention of future hunger. Government, donor, NGO, and private sector partners all need to be present and effective in the regions and among the households most affected by hunger to maximize the potential impact of food assistance and other investments on hunger. Impact of food aid on recipient countries. Food aid has different meaning for various people. Many who are unfamiliar with the complexities of food aid programs view it as homogeneous in its form and purpose. The popular perception is that food aid primarily serves as temporary humanitarian assistance freely given to provide relief to victims of natural disasters, example, famines and tsunamis, and man-made conflicts, example, civil war. In reality, food aid is more than just humanitarian assistance, and the accompanying allocation and distribution issues are much more complex. Modern food aid, which began with the passage of United States Public Law in 1954, is normally classified into three broad categories: program, project, and emergency humanitarian food aid. Critics of food aid have contended that it has the potential to create disincentive effects in recipient countries. In addition, the role of food aid in combating global food insecurity has received more attention recently as food aid levels fluctuate with international cereal prices. Less food aid donations are available when they are needed most by recipient countries facing chronic food deficits and more expensive food imports. The data from recent decades of food aid allocation also shows that the top recipients are not necessarily the neediest and most food deficit countries. Also, the recipient country governments have been known to not distribute food aid to the most malnourished households, but have rather favored their political constituents by using food aid as payment for political support. As per FAO 2002 and Barrett and Maxwell 2005, major recipients of global food aid and undernutrition rankings during 1998-2000 are Congo Democratic Republic, 73% of total population received 0.56 kilograms per capita food aid. Somalia, 71% of total population received 3.72 kilograms per capita food aid. Afghanistan, 70% of total population received 7.9 kilograms per capita food aid. Burundi, 69% of total population received 2.22 kilograms per capita food aid. Tajikistan, 64% of total population received 16.75 kilograms per capita food aid. Eritrea, 58% of total population received 40.47 kilograms per capita food aid. Mozambique, 55% of total population received 7.86 kilograms per capita food aid. Angola, 50% of total population received 13.66 kilograms per capita food aid. Haiti, 50% of total population received 16.82 kilograms, and Zambia, 50% of total population received 1.81 kilograms per capita food aid. The impact of aid has been investigated both from microeconomic and macroeconomic perspectives using various methodological frameworks and datasets. Furthermore, the complexities of food aid in terms of its delivery, procurement, and distribution present a challenge for defining the role and impact of food aid. An accurate assessment of the impact of food aid on domestic agricultural producers in recipient countries would depend on whether food aid is given as grant or donation or as concessional sale, whether it is procured via direct bilateral transfer, triangular or local cash purchase, whether it is distributed freely, example, school feeding program, or as payment in kind, example, food for work program, or sold on the open market. Food aid also has the potential of serving as a tool in addressing food security challenges in many developing nations. However, many analysts question the extent of the contribution of food aid allocations in facilitating economic development and reducing malnutrition in food deficit low-income countries. The success of food aid in alleviating poverty and reducing malnutrition in low-income countries depend on the effectiveness of targeting. If food aid is not well targeted to the most undernourished people, then food aid cannot be effective in helping to improve the nutritional status of the poor in recipient nations. Food aid distribution policies of donors and recipient governments and NGOs play a pivotal role in determining whether the right groups receive food aid and whether the aid arrives at the right time. Food aid and development. Targeted food aid can be used in programs that enable development of vulnerable groups' human and physical capital. An example of this is using food aid to build human capital by providing school meals as an incentive to increase school attendance, or by supporting training in agricultural, income production, or other skills. Food aid can also play an important role in improving the standard of nutrition, both directly by providing essential food to those who lack access to adequate food, and indirectly when provided in conjunction with nutrition education or when used to finance health inputs that complement food intakes. Food aid can also help fight hidden hunger, that is, micronutrient deficiencies, especially of iron, iodine, and vitamin A, that badly affect at least as many people as caloric deficiencies and have serious implications for health and the development of human capabilities. It is important to note that the encouragement to participate in these programs brought about by food aid may be as important as the direct impact of food itself. In developing countries, the poorest of the poor spend 80% or more of their income on food. The consequences of allowing international food price fluctuations to pass through to local markets can be bad for the poor. This is particularly true if they are forced to sell off productive assets to buy food when food price spikes occur because that impairs even their existing income earning capacity, which may already be low. Indeed, it has been shown that sharp increases in food prices can have as great an impact on hunger and mortality as crop failures. Food assistance can be a catalyst for increasing agricultural productivity in both the food and export subsectors. Undernutrition results in substantial productivity losses caused by reduced work performance and inefficient or ineffective income earning decisions designed to hedge against limitations on food availability and access. It is arguable that a state that lets this happen has failed to live up to its obligation to protect their right to food from the actions of other enterprises and individuals. Food aid can help governments meet their obligations. One possibility is to use food aid together with food from other sources, such as commercial purchases, to build up a buffer stock of food grains that can be used to mitigate the effects of supply instability. This means food aid can play a role in protecting the right to food of those amongst the poor who would otherwise lose access to adequate food when prices rise. Food aid programs in India. The Government of India has launched several programs to converge the growing rate of undernutrition children. They include ICDS, NCF, National Health Mission. In an effort to reduce chronic undernutrition and its health hazards, food supplementation programs to identified vulnerable groups such as women and children were taken up initially by the Department of Social Welfare and later Department of Women and Child Development. In the Integrated Child Development Scheme, an attempt was made to provide essential health and nutrition inputs to the women and children and preschool education to children both in urban and rural areas. Food supplementation to the school children in the form of midday meal programs were taken up in many states. Programs for prevention of iodine deficiency disorders, anemia, and blindness due to vitamin A deficiency were initiated by the Department of Health and Family Welfare. Major food supplementation programs are Applied Nutrition Program, Special Nutrition Program, Tamil Nadu Integrated Nutrition Project 1, Tamil Nadu Integrated Nutrition Project 2, Integrated Child Development Services Scheme, Midday Meal Program. ANP was started in 1963 to promote production of protective food such as vegetables and fruits and ensure their consumption by pregnant or nursing mothers and children. Nutrition education was the main focus. The Special Nutrition Program. This was started in 1970. The objectives was to provide 500 kilocalories and 25 gram of protein to expectant and nursing mothers and 300 kilocalories and 10 gram of protein to children 6 days a week. The program was taken up in rural areas predominantly for lower socio-economic groups in tribal areas and urban slums. Tamil Nadu Integrated Nutrition Project. The Tamil Nadu Integrated Nutrition Project, TINP, was an externally assisted health and nutrition intervention that offered a package of health and nutrition services to young children and pregnant and lactating women in rural Tamil Nadu. Its main goals were to halve malnutrition among children under 4 years of age, to reduce infant mortality by 25%, to reduce vitamin A deficiency in the under 5s from about 27% to about 5%, and to reduce anemia in pregnant and nursing women from about 55% to about 20%. It focused on four major components: nutrition services, health services, communications, and monitoring and evaluation. The main strategies were to provide food supplements, nutrition education, and primary health care to pregnant and lactating women and children 6 to 36 months. To monitor the growth of children in this age group through monthly weighing and growth charting, and to provide supplementary feeding and health checks to children with growth faltering, as well as intensive counseling to their mothers. TINP-1 was targeted at 6 to 36-month-old children and pregnant and lactating women. Project activities were started in October 1980. TINP-2 was designed to cover in a phased manner. The target population was children from birth until 6 years of age, as against 6 to 36-month-old children in TINP-1 and pregnant and lactating mothers. The goals of TINP-2 include increasing the proportion of children classified as nutritionally normal by 50% in new and 35% in TINP-1 areas. Reduction in infant mortality to 55 per thousand live births. 50% reduction in incidence of low birth weight. With the universalization of ICDS, all the TINP blocks will be converted into ICDS blocks. The Integrated Child Development Services Scheme. The ICDS program was initiated in 1975 with the following objectives: to improve the health and nutrition status of children from 0 to 6 years by providing supplementary food and by coordinating with state health departments to ensure delivery of required health inputs. To provide conditions necessary for preschool children's psychological and social development through early stimulation and education. To provide pregnant and lactating women with food supplements. To enhance the mother's ability to provide proper child care through health and nutrition education. To achieve effective coordination of policy and implementation among the various departments to promote child development. Several principles and standards have been identified for food and food-related aid, namely impartiality and non-discrimination, special protection and assistance for vulnerable groups, gender approach, consideration for longer-term rehabilitation and development, participation, environment protection, and adequacy standards. Impartiality and non-discrimination entail that aid must be distributed according to need only. Although food and food-related aid aims at satisfying urgent and immediate needs, it must be taken into account longer-term rehabilitation and development concerns. Ways in which participation may be integrated within aid programs are to be devised.